Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our 30-day English practice podcast. My name is Sam, and I'm your host for this journey to boost your speaking confidence and listening skills at the A2-B1 level. This is day 2, and we're focusing on something we all do: daily routines and time expressions. Yesterday, we talked about breaking the ice with simple greetings and introductions. Today, we'll expand on that by discussing what you do each day, when you do it, and how you can express your schedule in natural English. Before we dive in, let me reintroduce our special guest and friend, Alex. Alex is here once again to help demonstrate dialogues, share practical tips, and hopefully make your learning process fun and engaging. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Sam. I'm excited to be back for our second day. Daily routines are such a big part of everyday conversation. People often ask, what do you do during the day? Or how does your morning look? So this is a perfect topic for learners who want to sound more fluent and organized in English.
Exactly. Often when you meet someone new or you chat with a friend, you might talk about your morning habits, your job or school schedule, or even your bedtime routine. Knowing how to discuss these things in English is crucial for building confidence. That's why we're dedicating this whole episode to daily routines and the time expressions that go along with them. Let's start by listing some common activities people do in a typical day. We'll then create a couple of dialogues to illustrate how to weave these ideas together in a conversation. Does that sound good, Alex?
That's perfect, Sam. Let me share a list of common daily activities first. Waking up. I wake up at 7 a.m. I usually get up around 6:30. Morning hygiene. I brush my teeth. I take a shower. I wash my face. I get dressed. Breakfast. I have breakfast. I grab a quick coffee. I make toast, or I drink orange juice. Commute. I leave home at 8 a.m. I catch the bus. I drive to work. I take the subway. Work school. I start work at 9 a.m. I have classes until 3 p.m. Lunch break. I usually have lunch at noon. I go out with coworkers. I eat a packed lunch. Afternoon tasks. I answer emails. I attend meetings. I study in the library. I run errands. Evening activities. I finish work at 6 p.m. I head home. I pick up groceries. I watch TV. Dinner. I cook dinner at 7 p.m. I order takeout on Fridays. I eat with my family. Free time. I read a book. I play video games. I chat with friends. I exercise. Bedtime routine. I take a shower before bed. I brush my teeth. I set my alarm. I go to bed at 11 p.m. These are just some examples, but they cover a lot of what people do throughout a typical weekday. Weekends might look different, of course.
Absolutely. Now, notice how we often pair these actions with time expressions or adverbs of frequency. For example, I usually wake up at 7 a.m., or I sometimes skip breakfast, or I always have coffee in the morning. Including words like usually, often, sometimes, always, rarely never helps paint a clearer picture of your habits. Let's discuss some common time expressions as well. At plus a specific time. At 7 a.m., at noon, at midnight. In the morning, afternoon, evening. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. At night. We typically say at night, not in the night. On weekdays, on weekends. On weekdays, I wake up early. On weekends, I sleep in. Around or about, around 7:30, about 6:45. We also have phrases like once a week, twice a month, 3 times a year, which are great to specify frequency for tasks like grocery shopping, laundry, or bigger chores.
Right. Now that we've introduced a good deal of vocabulary, let's do a sample dialogue. We'll keep it fairly simple, but inject enough detail to show a typical day. Listeners, pay close attention to time expressions, verbs, and the way we talk about frequency.
Good morning, Alex. You look bright and cheerful today. What time do you usually wake up?
Good morning, Sam. Thanks. I usually wake up at 7 a.m., but I try not to get out of bed until about 7:15. I like to scroll through my phone for a few minutes before I get up.
That sounds familiar. So, what do you do after you get out of bed?
Well, I take a quick shower, brush my teeth, and then I get dressed for work. Around 7:45, I head to the kitchen and make myself a cup of coffee and a light breakfast. I rarely skip breakfast because I feel more energetic when I eat something in the morning.
I agree. Breakfast is important. So, you leave for work around what time?
I usually leave home by 8:30 a.m. It takes me about half an hour to get to the office, so I start work at 9:00.
That's a pretty standard schedule. When do you have lunch?
I normally have lunch at around noon, and I try to bring a packed lunch from home most days. It's both healthier and cheaper, in my opinion.
Good point. So, you finish work around 5 or 6 p.m., right?
Yes. I finish at 5:30 p.m. most days. If I stay later, it's usually because we have a deadline. After work, I often stop by the gym for an hour. Then I head home to cook dinner, or if I'm tired, I'll order takeout.
That's quite productive. How about your evenings?
In the evenings, I like to relax. I might watch a TV series, read a book, or sometimes just chat with friends online. I usually go to bed around 11 p.m. How about you, Sam?
We can pause the conversation there. Notice how Alex used time expressions. At 7 a.m., around 7:45, around noon, at 5:30 p.m., and also used adverbs of frequency like usually, often, rarely. This is precisely what you want to incorporate into your daily routine description. Let's do another dialogue that focuses on time expressions and adds a bit more variety. We'll pretend it's my routine now. Hey Alex, my weekday schedule is a bit different from yours. I usually wake up at 6:30 a.m. because I like to exercise in the morning.
Wow, that's early. So, do you go for a run or do a home workout?
Actually, I do a quick yoga session at home. It takes about 20 minutes, but it really helps me wake up. Then I make a smoothie or some oatmeal for breakfast.
That's awesome. What time do you leave for work?
I leave around 8:15. My job starts at 9 a.m. on weekdays, so I have a little buffer time. I sometimes treat myself to a coffee at a local cafe if I'm ahead of schedule.
Sounds nice. Do you eat lunch at your workplace or go out?
It depends. 2 or 3 times a week, I eat at a nearby restaurant. On other days, I bring a lunchbox. I find that switching it up keeps me from getting bored.
Makes sense. And what about after work?
I finish at 5 p.m. most days. Once or twice a week, I stay until 6 if I'm working on a project. Right after work, I like to run errands, buy groceries, go to the post office, or pick up dry cleaning. Then I get home around 6:30 or 7 now.
So, when do you have dinner?
Usually around 7:30. After dinner, I occasionally watch a movie or a few episodes of a series. But I also try to read for at least 30 minutes before bed.
That's a good habit. What time do you usually go to bed then?
Around 11 p.m., sometimes midnight if I lose track of time. But I try not to go to sleep too late because I need my 7 hours of rest.
Great conversation, Sam. So, we've shown 2 different routines, each with various time expressions. Listeners, remember that you can adapt these dialogues to your own life. Think about, what time do you wake up? What do you do in the morning? When do you leave for school or work? How do you spend your evenings? What time do you usually go to bed? Use the words always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, never to describe how frequently you do something. Use time prepositions like at, in, on, around to give a clear picture of your schedule.
Exactly. And if you find yourself hesitating, break it down step by step. Morning routine. Waking up, showering, breakfast, commute, leaving home, time to arrive at work or school. Work school day, start and end times, lunch break, afternoon evening, after work activities, hobbies, errands, night routine, dinner, relaxation, bedtime. That structure makes it easier to talk about your day from start to finish.
Now, let's introduce a brief grammar note related to present simple tense. Remember, we use the present simple tense to describe habits and routines. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. She goes to bed at 11 p.m. We have lunch together every Wednesday. If you want to emphasize that you're in the middle of something temporarily, you might use the present continuous. But for daily routines, present simple is your go-to tense.
That's right. Also note that if you're describing routines for someone else, you'll need to add s or e's to the verb when using he, she, it. He wakes up at 6 a.m. She brushes her teeth before breakfast. It takes him 30 minutes to get to work. Don't forget these small details, as they make your sentences grammatically correct.
And another quick tip, if you're using adverbs of frequency, like usually, often, or always, in a sentence with the present simple, place them between the subject and the verb for a natural flow. I usually wake up at 7:30. She often plays tennis after work. We always have dinner at 8 p.m. If you're using the verb to be, the adverb of frequency comes after the verb. I am usually at home by 6 p.m. He is often late for work.
Now that we've covered the grammar essentials, let's remind our listeners about how to apply this plan in their own studies. This is day 2 of our 30-day challenge. So if you're just tuning in, be sure to check out day 1 on greetings and introductions. Let's keep the momentum going. 1. Daily listening, 10-15 minutes. Listen to this podcast episode at least once, twice if you have time. Pay close attention to time expressions like at 7 a.m. or in the morning. 2. Repeat and shadow. Choose 2 or 3 sentences from our dialogues. Pause the audio, then shadow the lines. For instance, repeat, I usually have lunch at noon. Copy the intonation and rhythm. 3. Write your own routine. Take 5 to 10 minutes to write down your daily routine in English. Begin with what time you wake up, how you commute, what you do in the afternoon, and when you go to bed. Use adverbs of frequency. 4. Practice with a partner. If possible, pair up with a friend or online study buddy. Ask each other, what time do you usually wake up? When do you get home? This helps solidify the vocabulary in real conversation. 5. Review key vocabulary and grammar. Look for new words or phrases you've picked up, such as grab a quick coffee, head to work, or run errands. Also, note the grammar rules on present simple and adverbs of frequency. 6. Stay consistent and motivated. Each day of this series builds on the previous one. A little practice every day will go a long way. By the end of 30 days, you'll notice real progress in your ability to speak and understand English confidently.
Perfect, Sam. I love this structured approach. It keeps learners on track and ensures they're making tangible improvements.
Indeed. Now, as we get ready to close day 2, let's remind everyone that tomorrow, day 3, we'll discuss a brand new topic. We won't spoil it just yet, but trust me, it's going to help you expand your vocabulary even further. Before we go, if you're enjoying this challenge, subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube, follow our podcast if you're tuning in from a platform like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and leave a comment sharing your daily routine in English. We'd love to see you practice what you've learned.
Yes. The more you interact, the better you'll get. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or share any tips you might have about managing your day. Some learners have unique routines that can inspire others.
Absolutely. Let's do a final recap of the essential points from today. Daily routines revolve around your morning, work or school day, evening, and bedtime. Time expressions help make your schedule clear and include phrases like at 7, in the evening, and around noon. Adverbs of frequency: always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, never. Bring your routine to life, showing how often you do certain tasks. Present simple tense is used for regular habits. Don't forget to add s or e's for he, she, it forms. Practice by talking about your routine, shadowing example dialogues, and writing down your own schedule.
That's a great summary. Thank you so much, Sam. And thank you to all our listeners for joining us on day 2. Keep practicing, and soon enough, talking about your day in English will feel completely natural.
Exactly. Thanks for listening or watching, everyone. This has been Talk About Your Day, Daily Routines and Time Expressions, our second episode in the 30-day English practice series. Stay tuned for day 3 And until then, enjoy your daily routine. And don't forget to talk about it in English.
See you next time.
Bye bye.